Hello students, this video I am going to make on this human reproduction of class 12. Okay, the third chapter. First two chapters we have completed. All the videos are there in this channel, and this is the third chapter I am going to start with. So this session I am going to discuss on. I'm going to discuss on the topic of male reproductive system. Okay. So, male reproductive system. So, before starting of this system, as usual, all of you sit with the pen and paper so that you can jot down all the important things, and you should be able to make a note out of it. Okay. So, let us divide the male reproductive system. First of all, I am going to categorize them broadly, in the main sections, and then one by one I will be discussing them. Okay. First is a pair of testes are present in the male reproductive system. The second we see male accessory ducts. Ducts means the route through which the male gamete transfers. Then next is the male accessory glands. They have some very important secretory functions. Then next, urethra, and last one is the external genitalia. Okay, so these are five different categories in a sequence, proper sequence, starting from the testes, then the ducts, then the glands, then the urethra, and then the external genitalia. Now one by one I am going to focus on. The first we will be discussing on the pair of testes. Side by side I am going to draw the diagram also. So let's write the things towards the left of the board. Testes. So first of all, before getting inside the anatomy of the testes, the first term comes is the scrotum. Okay, scrotum is the sac-like structure, or it's a bag-like structure within which the pair of testes they are found. Okay. Now this scrotum has a particular function. It maintains the temperature inside the sac, which is always 2 to 3 degrees less than the normal body temperature. Okay, it's a requirement for the production of the male gamete or the sperms. Little more the temperature, little less the temperature, okay, is not suitable for the formation of the male gamete. That is why a particular temperature, which is always 2 to 3 degrees lesser than the normal body temperature, is to be maintained. That is why the scrotum is there. Now, the next is that once we get inside the scrotum, now we will see the testes, and the testes are covered by a particular membrane. Okay. Assume that these are the two testes here, and I will be showing you the anatomy in the one testis. Okay. Now the other one I will be showing because it will be the same from both the sides, in both the sides. Okay. So there is an outer layer membrane here in the testis, which is known as tunica. It is the membrane which consists of 3 consecutive layers. The tunica consists of 3 consecutive layers. The first one is that tunica vaginalis. Second is the tunica albuginea, and number 3 tunica vascularis. Okay, now this is the outermost one, this is the outermost layer, and then the middle one is tunica albuginea, and the innermost is tunica vascularis. So in the bracket you can write this is the outermost, this is the middle, this is the innermost layer. Okay, so these three consecutive layers, okay, they are found in the tunica, the membrane. Okay. Now let us get inside the testis. Once we have studied the membrane around, okay, now let's get inside the testis. Once we get inside the testis, we will see first of all some compartments. Both the testes, each of these testes are compartmentalized. Okay, there are 250 compartments in each testis. So let us see the compartments here. Okay, so these are the compartments present inside each of the testes, and these are known as testicular lobules. So what we see here, testicular lobules. How many? 250 in each testis. Testicular lobules are there. These are compartments. Now inside these compartments, inside these lobules, each of these lobules, what we see there. So let us divide it into two categories. First we see 2 to 3 very highly coiled seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules. Okay, how many? 2 to 3 at least. They are very highly coiled inside these compartments, lobules. Okay, it may be more than 3, but at least 2 to 3 has to be there. So total how many is coming? Total there are 250 compartments, 250 lobules. So 3 into 250, it's 750. So minimum 750 seminiferous tubules are there in each testis. So it may be from 750 to 1000. It differs. So seminiferous tubule, first we say, let us see the seminiferous tubules. Very highly coiled structures. As much as possible, I am just trying to do it. Okay. So these are the seminiferous tubules there in each testicular lobules. Now, apart from these lobules, the seminiferous tubule, if you look at carefully, you will see that apart from the seminiferous tubule, there are still free space left inside the lobule, the white part inside each, the lobule. So this free space is known as interstitial space. Okay, so let us label them. So this is the tunica, these are the testicular lobules. Okay, inside we see here, these are the seminiferous tubules. Okay, and the free space here, this one is known as the interstitial space. Okay, now this seminiferous tubule, what we see inside of this, inside of each of these seminiferous tubule, if I look into, okay, what we will see? We will see two different types of cells are present inside each of these coiled seminiferous tubules. Okay, what are these? The first one is that male germ cells. Okay, and then Sertoli cells. These are two groups of cells are present inside the seminiferous tubules. The male germ cells give rise to sperms, okay, or we can say male gametes by the process of meiosis, okay, and the Sertoli cells which provide nourishment, provide nourishment to whom? To the germ cells, because the germ cells undergo meiosis cell division. Is a mechanism, and we can understand that it needs nutrients. It has a demand of nutrients while undergoing this process of spermatogenesis, the formation of sperm. That nutrients are provided by these Sertoli cells present inside the tubules. Okay, so we come to know exact location where the male gametes or the sperms are produced. Okay, so it is in the testes, the lobules are there, where seminiferous tubules, and then the germ cells inside the seminiferous tubule, they produce the sperms of the male gametes. Okay, and then the cells which provide nourishment. Clear? Okay, now we are left with the interstitial space. Okay, now interstitial space is very less area. I am writing here as in a very small, okay, way. Interstitial space, there are interstitial cells. Okay, these interstitial cells also known as Leydig cells. Okay, interstitial cells also known as Leydig cells. Okay, now these Leydig cells have a very important role there inside the testes. What they do? Interstitial cells or Leydig cells. Okay, before that, what Leydig cells are doing? Okay, these are blood vessels also present there. Okay, blood vessels are there. Now these Leydig cells, what they are doing? I am writing here. The functions of they are actually they produce a group of male sex hormones. Those are known as androgens. Okay. So just I am writing here. Remember this interstitial, this part I am writing here. Okay. So androgens. Androgens, they are producing a group of male sex hormone. Okay. Some examples you write. Like testosterone is a very common name. Testosterone is a hormone. Second is that some examples I am giving: dihydrotestosterone, then androsterone, then dihydroepiandrosterone. So these are some examples of the hormones, okay, known as the male sex hormones. There are some more. These are the main important the hormones that you are supposed to remember. Okay. So this is what the discussion about the testes. Okay, inside these lobules, what's happening, and inside the testes, there what's happening. Okay, so sperms are produced, nutrients provided Sertoli cells. Then we have Leydig cells provide the male sex hormones, and there are blood vessels also there. Okay, we have seen the membrane also. This is the testis inside. Clear? Now we are going to see the next one. I am rubbing this part. Okay. Now I am going to use a separate color so that now next part will be identified easily. So it is the male accessory ducts. Okay, male accessory ducts means the routes through which the transportation of the sperm on the male gamete takes place. So first option is the retitestis. Retitestis is the first duct that are there within the testis itself. Okay. This is the area where these sperms transported through these seminiferous tubules, okay, into this retitestis. So retitestis, we can say that it is a network of the seminiferous tubules coming from the testicular lobules. Okay, they carry the sperms from there and they all come here, they join here from a network like structure, so seminiferous tubule. So all comes here with their sperm produced in them. Clear? So first duct, retitestis. What next? Next is the vasa efferentia. Now vasa efferentia, if I see, it starts from the retitestis upward, the tubes move. Okay, so they are transporting the male gametes or the sperm from the retitestis through this vasa efferentia. Okay, so the next one is the epididymis. Okay, epididymis starts from here. Okay, so the transported the gametes, the male sperms reaches to this epididymis. Okay, through this vasa efferentia they enter into the epididymis. So this is the retitestis, this is the vasa efferentia and this is the epididymis. Okay, now in the epididymis the sperms, they can be temporarily stored for as long as 1 month, and during this time this functional maturation of the sperm take place, which is a very important function. Now the last duct part is the vas deferens. Vas deferens. Okay, so from the epididymis it starts, and now here is a urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is not part of reproductive system, but it has to be there to show the way the transportation, that takes place. Now this side, obviously one more vas deferens comes and they move over the bladder. Okay, they move over the bladder and they join and they come out as a single duct. Understood? Over the urinary bladder. So till starting from the retitestis and then here over the urinary bladder they comes here. So to some extent the single duct that moves here. So this is what the accessory ducts, the route through which the transportation of the male gamete produced that takes place. For starting from the retitestis to vasa efferentia, from the epididymis and the vas deferens. Over the bladder, both the vas deferens comes, joins together and they form a single duct starting from here. Okay, so next our ducts is done. Next we will do the male accessory glands. Okay, male accessory glands. The three different types of male accessory glands found. Number one, a pair of seminal vesicles. Okay. Number two, a prostate gland, a prostate gland, and number three, again a pair of bulbourethral gland, which is also known as Cowper's gland. So these are three different types of glands present there. So let me show you where are these locations. This is the seminal vesicles, a pair of seminal vesicles. Okay. Now these seminal vesicles, let's talk about this little bit. The seminal vesicles secrete seminal fluid. Okay. Now if I look at the nature of the fluid, how it is. Number one, it is very transparent in nature. Very transparent in nature. Number two, it's very lubricating in nature. Very lubricating in nature. It is because of the presence of mucus. Okay. And also we see jelly-like substances present inside the fluid. Okay. So these are the three primary nature we see is the seminal fluid. They are transparent in nature, lubricating because of mucus, and the jelly-like substances present inside this seminal fluid. Okay. Now exactly if we look into the constituents of the fluid, okay, now what are those? Some examples I am giving. Proteins are present here. Proteins. Then we see enzymes there. Different enzymes are also present. Apart from this, fructose is there. Okay. Then we see vitamin C, and then some minerals important: sodium, calcium, okay, potassium. These are some of the important nutrients or the substances present inside the seminal fluid. Okay. Actually, this seminal fluid finally, ultimately, it forms the semen. Okay. So we will see the composition of semen also finally. So this is what the seminal vesicles doing. Okay, the fluid secreted. So what is coming through the vas deferens or the fluid and the sperm that comes, and then the fluid, seminal fluid mixes up with that. And what is there in the fluid we have seen in details here. Okay. So it is the starting of the formation of the semen. So next move on. Our next is prostate gland, right? So a prostate gland, a single prostate gland. The location is here. This is the prostate gland here. See, it looks like two, but actually it is one. How? Just behind this is actually the starting of the urethra from here. Just behind this duct or the urethra is actually one single prostate gland. Suppose it's a duct and it forms like this. So if you look it from the front side, you will see it appears two, but it is actually one single prostate gland. Okay. So this is one. The prostate glands secretes again some fluids where we see examples like calcium ion present there. Okay, calcium ion we see. We also see phosphate ion present there. Apart from that, some enzymes are also there. Some enzymes are there. For example, acid phosphatase amylase is also present there. Pepsinogen is also present there, and also fibrinogenase. These are major enzymes which are present inside this fluid secreted by the prostate gland. Okay, so this make the fluid of the prostate gland. Okay, move on next to the next gland. is the Cowper's gland or the bulbourethral gland. Nothing but they mainly secrete the mucus. Okay, mucus, that is a lubricating substance. Okay, so the location of Cowper's gland is here in a very small, okay, manner. The Cowper's gland. Okay, Cowper's gland. Clear? Now, from here the actual urethra starts. So this is all about the glands we have discussed. Okay, now before getting into the next part, let me show you the semen. Now the semen actually getting to form. Okay, so if I look into the composition of semen, what happens is that 10% contribution comes from the fluid and semen, sperm from vas deferens. Okay, 60% contribution comes from the seminal fluid. 30% contribution comes from the prostate gland. Okay, and very small amount, that is from the comes from the Cowper's gland. Only the mucus comes from the Cowper's gland. And remember one thing, that the prostate gland fluid that secreted, it is actually alkaline in nature. Okay, basic in nature. It's very, very important. Okay, it is alkaline or basic in nature. Why I am saying this? Because this makes the sperm alkaline in nature. Okay, so altogether I am getting here the semen, okay, which is actually alkaline in nature because of the prostate gland fluids. The pH, if we see, the pH is 7.5. So it is the alkaline in nature, basic in nature. The logic behind, there is a logic why it is alkaline. We will discuss this in our next topics. Okay, so this is the composition of the semen, which makes it the alkaline in nature, pH 7.5. Clear? So by it reaches here, a Cowper's gland, the semen is already formed. Now our next, the small part is left here, the urethra. Okay, the urethra that starts from here now. Okay, from where the urethra starts here, the external genitalia starts with this. Okay, and the urethra here. Now see, this is the urethra and this is what is the external genitalia. Okay, the urethra comes and opens here. This opening is known as urethral meatus. Urethral meatus. Clear? And it ends up with the external genitalia where the urethra starts. Understood? So urethra actually, if you look, the origination of the urethra, it starts from here, where the bladder starts. Okay? So this is all about the male reproductive system. We have seen one by one in the proper sequence. You have to understand and you have to learn. Your notes to be made in the sequence I have discussed. First we will discuss the testis one, the anatomy of the testis, then the accessory ducts we have discussed, then the glands we have discussed, then the urethra and the external genitalia. Okay, so this is all about the male reproductive system. Clear? So in the next video I will be making the female reproductive system. So I hope whatever I have discussed here, it will help you to understand the male reproductive system. Okay, totally the content that I have covered is NCERT based. So if you still have any doubt, you have to ask me. Please do ask me the question and answer. Okay, practice the diagram. It's very important to learn. Once you can get in, you can learn the diagram properly, the rest of the part automatically can be taken care of. Okay, so make your notes properly. Thank you so much.